Good morning. It's Sunday morning and I'm getting ready to go and sow some seeds for spring and summer. And I just wanted to show you a few things I've been doing to try to repurpose and reuse some things that you might already have around the house for sowing seeds and growing seedlings. So I've been collecting our milk containers and cutting them down to, pot size, I guess. These would be really good, and same with the Tetra packs that you get soy milk and almond milk in. You can chop them down. They will need drainage holes, so I will get some a nail and a hammer or a drill, and just probably a drill will be quicker. Just to drill some holes along the bottom of each of these so that they have drainage. But these are really good for growing tomatoes, not when you're sowing the seeds, so the seeds in little cells. When they've kind of grown a few leaves, you can then transplant that into something like these with some potting mix, and then they can grow to a decent height before you put them out in the garden. So I've been collecting these, got a few milk ones and a few of the Tetra packs of almond milk, soy milk and so on. And then these are also great. This is what we had, you have cherry tomatoes in or strawberries. And these are so good because they already have holes in the bottom and in the top. So they've got drainage for the bottom. And they can act as a little mini greenhouse. So if you put your soil in there, like your seed raising mix, and put some seeds in, you can pop the lid down and it creates like a little mini greenhouse. And once they start germinating and popping up, you can just open up the lid and let them grow. So try and collect these things if you can, rather than put them in the recycling bin, which is where all these were destined for. So I've just been slowly putting them aside, and rather than putting them away in the recycling bin, I'm keeping them to use for my seed raising. The other thing that I've done with the top part of the milk bottles is I've cut them into these little triangles. So these triangles, I can write what I've sown up the top, and then they just sit into the, the seed tray or whatever it is, so that I know what I've planted. Last year, I sometimes I do fall for these things, but I bought these bamboo little labels, plant labels online. And I should have known, they didn't last very long. They rotted very quickly, as you would imagine. And yes, it's bamboo and it'll just it can go in the compost, but it's they certainly didn't last very long. And it means then you have to keep purchasing them, and I don't want to do that. So I just using plastic from these milk containers to make my own labels. And I can just write on them with a permanent marker. And I'm imagining these are going to last a long time. So I'm about to head out and start. I have taken my seeds out that I'd like to start now. So a lot of flowers and some of my tomatoes, because I want to get my tomatoes to a decent size. And I think a bit more spring onions, chives, that sort of thing. And I will sow some more carrot seeds and what was the other thing? Carrot and beetroot, although it might be too cold for beetroot. Yeah, carrots and radishes. That's the other thing. I've been picking quite a few radishes, so I want to sort of sow some more and get another lot going. And they grow very quickly, so they'll be in and out in no time before it's time to grow all the spring and summer plants. So I'm going to take all of this and head out to the greenhouse and get myself organized. Okay, I am out in the greenhouse. There's actually a bit of noise because Marcus is working with some machinery behind me. So I'm hoping it won't be too noisy as I'm doing this, but I'm in the greenhouse. It's actually quite warm because the sun, it's a fair bit of sun out today, and it's actually meant to be a really nice day. It's about 16 today and 17 tomorrow, which is pretty warm for August. August is normally our coldest month, so it is odd to have very mild weather. I'm not complaining as long as we get rain. So I've got here all of my little punnets and little containers that I sow my seeds in. I've also got a whole heap of larger pots like these. Here's really noisy. It's noisy when it backs up. These will be sort of for tomatoes and that as they get bigger. I won't sow any seeds into that at this stage. And then I've got a whole heap over here as well, punnets. So I'm going to try and give them all a wash. I've got a bucket of water in here and I'm going to give them a wash and then get them ready. I feel like I'm not going to have enough seed trays and punnets. I have a feeling. I get a bit excited about all the things I want to grow. So I'm going to just do as much as I can and then I'll know what I need to get more of, I guess. So I'm going to get started washing all these seed trays first. So there we go. We've got, I think that's not even all of them. So I think I have plenty actually. It was more than I realized, but most of these are sort of smallish pots like that, or little trays like that, which are perfect for when you're just starting some seeds. And then I also have over here these trays, so I've just given these a wash as well. It's got them out here drying. So these trays, I often grow flowers in them, so I'll just put seed raising mix in and then do rows of flowers, flower seeds. So I've got 3 of those that I can use. This one underneath is not appropriate for that because of the big holes. But that's just good for sitting pots in if you need to move them around. I've also done a little bit of a cleanup of my potting bench, which was well overdue. So I've got my little labels in there, and then I've got my larger pots underneath, which I won't need just yet. But if I need, I still have plenty of these smaller seed pots or seedling pots, so I still have plenty in there, plus these ones here. So if I need more, I will just wash some more, but I'm going to start with these plus the trays for flowers and see how we go. This is the tray I'm doing the chicken mix, so the chicken grazing mix. So it's just a range of different plants, things like amaranth and bok choy and chicory, millet, nasturtium, alfalfa, carrot, dandelion, a whole heap, fennel, so on. So they're not going to grow to full size. This is all about them just growing until they're green. So we have a nice tray of greens. I'm not sure exactly how thickly to spread this, but I'm just going to sprinkle it out. I think I want it fairly thick. So I'm sprinkling it out on the tray, and that's probably, okay, let's see how that goes. That's maybe, it's probably a bit more than half a packet. We'll see how that goes, see what I think, and then I'll know how much I need to sow next time. But I'm just going to now get a bit of seed raising mix and sprinkle that over the top. Just going to show you, we have a little friend in the garden. In fact, the other day I came into the greenhouse and nearly had a heart attack because it was down here in the corner of the greenhouse. It's obviously come out now, and I'm going to show you our little friend who seems to hang around here a fair bit. There's usually two, but I'm only seeing one. Whether another will turn up later, we'll see. A stumpy-tailed lizard, and I don't want to scare him because he's already been scared, but his tail and his head kind of look the same, and that's a protective measure. Completely harmless, but they're a very decent sized lizard. Maggie, no, I need to get the dogs out of the way. Come on, out. The dogs sometimes, they don't do anything to them, but they'll stand there and bark at them. And I have moved them to safety in the past, just in case the dogs do decide to, play with it. Well, it's now the end of Sunday, and I have sowed all my seeds, apart from some seeds I'm going to sow directly in the garden. So that's like beans, some beetroot, some more carrots, snow peas. Actually, tomorrow I might put some snow pea seeds in tomorrow, because I think they will probably germinate and do okay. So I've got a few that I'm going to grow. And things like cucumbers I like to sow directly into the garden. And then things like pumpkin and zucchini I haven't done yet. I'll do that a bit later. They can't go in until like October, November. And they grow pretty quickly from seed, so I don't really need to do them. They get like a decent size very quickly. I don't really need to sow them yet. I'll wait. I'll flip it around and I'll show you what I've done, but I am going to write down in my garden diary what seeds I sowed and how many of each, because it's good to kind of look back each year and see, was that enough? Was that too much? Was that not enough? Last year I just counted, I think I sowed around 20 tomato seeds, and I did have that issue of late frost hitting us in November, and I didn't cover them over, so I did lose some. So I'm probably looking at I think I've got about 30 or so tomato seeds planted, different varieties, this year. And I figure if they all survive, wonderful. If I end up with too much, well, big deal. But if anything happens where maybe some of them don't germinate properly, or they like I lose them somehow to frost or whatever else, I've got spares. So, you know, I'm kind of just upped it a bit to make sure that I've got enough. I think I've sown more plants than I have in previous years. I'm really hoping to up my game in terms of my growing this spring and summer. Fingers crossed we don't have any weather issues or fires or anything like that like we did last year. And hopefully we get enough rain over spring that really helps to get the garden nice and moist and ready for these plants. But we've just got to go along with it and see how we go. So I'm going to write down what I have sown. I'll flip it around now, the camera, and I'll just sort of show you what I've done and how I've labeled them all nicely. And some of those, like the tomatoes and so on, will go into larger pots once they've grown. Others will go, other plants will go directly out into the garden when it's ready. Rightio, so I've got a shelf up here. And I've got some tomatoes and corn. I've put corn in these milk containers. I decided to put them in there. Some capsicum there, and then I've got flowers, nasturtiums, spring onions, more tomatoes, capsicums. These are mostly tomatoes in there. I ran out of my little plastic ones, so I've gone to these bamboo ones that I had from last year. Like I said, I don't think they're that good, but I had some left over, so I'm using them. And then over here, I've got mostly flowers. So they're all flowers. These are the ones from Bunnings that have that little cardboard stick. So I just push it into the ground and make sure the seeds are under the soil. And so that's flowers. That's all flowers, and that is my chicken mix that I'm experimenting with. So that's what I've got. I have got, like I said, some more still to come, but these are most of these done. The one thing I'm thinking about, particularly for the tomatoes and the corn and tomatoes and capsicum up there, is we do still get cold days and very cold nights, and I'm worried even in the greenhouse it's going to be a bit cold. It's the next day, it's Monday, and as you can see behind me, still beautiful weather. Feels like spring. It's meant to be 17 degrees today. I've just come into the greenhouse. It's lovely and warm, but my concern is today is the last day of nice weather, which I knew it would not last. It's meant to drop back down to, I think, about 12 or 13 tomorrow. And by the weekend, it's going to be 10 degrees for Saturday and Sunday. And I'm not sure about, there is meant to be some rain coming, so I don't know that we'll have that much sun. So I'm concerned about particularly the sun-loving summer seeds, so the tomatoes, capsicums, and probably even the corn. If it gets too cold, I just don't think they're going to germinate. I want them to germinate as quickly as possible. So I'm thinking I'm going to take them inside. It'll probably only be for a few weeks or so. I'm going to sit them in front of the north-facing window. Because I feel like the weather fluctuations are going to be too much. This morning there was a slight frost and it was pretty cold. So I would imagine it got pretty cold here in the greenhouse, even though right now, I don't know if you could tell by my cheeks, but it's very warm in here. So I'm going to leave all of the flowers and yeah, probably mostly the flowers out here because they'll be fine and they will germinate eventually. But I just really want to get all of the tomatoes and that growing as quickly as possible so that we have them a nice size come November when we plant them out. I wanted to show you the beauty of these little cherry tomato or strawberry containers for using as a little mini greenhouse if you're looking at raising your own seeds.
You can see that there's a lot of condensation, so it really keeps the moisture in and it doesn't dry out. But I wanted to show you, I'm just going to open that up. When I feel that soil, that's really warm, that soil temperature, and they're in the window of the greenhouse here. But so is this, and it's not, the soil's warmish, but definitely not as warm as this. Like, this is really nice and warm. So I think that these are a winner. So I would be collecting them if I were you.
And then I just realized I don't want to do it right now because it's actually really nice and warm out here. So I'm going to leave them here until later today, till we get to sort of evening. Then I'm going to bring them inside and I'll do a quick video and show you how I've got them set up in the window. And then I think that'll be it for this video. Stay tuned and subscribe if you want to get notifications of the next videos, because I'll be giving you updates about how all my seeds are going, what's working, what's not, and eventually, once we really get into spring, I'll be able to start planting things out in the garden. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.